Hey guys, welcome back to another video here on Toned In Entertainment, where we love pop culture. Today it's time for another movie look back review. Now, while I do call this series Movie Look Back, I've actually never seen this movie. Growing up as a kid, I desperately wanted to watch this movie, but with the R rating, my parents, they were having none of that. Then for whatever reason over the years, I just never got around to checking that out. But that's in the past. Today is the present. I finally got my hands on this movie, and it's time to review The Punisher, released in 1989. The movie stars Dolph Lundgren as Frank Castle, aka The Punisher, Louis Gossett Jr. as Jake Berkowitz, and was directed by Mark Goldblatt. Now, Frank Castle's entire family is murdered by the Mafia, and even Frank himself is presumed dead. That's when Frank decides to stay completely off the grid, and when the time is right, he decides to strike, taking justice into his own hands. Now, as members of various crime syndicates begin dropping like flies at the hands of the Punisher, they get desperate, and that's when they decide, instead of working against each other, it might be in their best interest to work together. Now, before these crime families even really get a chance to work together, enter the Yakuza that have come over from Japan, and they're not just interested in being part of this crime scheme. No, they're looking at running the entire show. Now, the Yakuza gives them an ultimatum: either work for them or pay the ultimate price, and not just with their lives, but they will be putting their families' lives in danger as well. Now, I'm no historian on The Punisher, but I'm not sure why the movie creators decided to have Frank Castle living down in the sewers. I get he's trying to stay off the grid, but it just feels a little bit weird. Surely Frank Castle could have found a better way of living and still staying off the radar. And if he's gonna live down in the sewers, maybe he could have jazzed up the place just a little bit. I mean, a group of teenage turtles can live better than Frank Castle does in this movie. Now, do I recommend you guys check out The Punisher from 1989? Yes, I do. It's probably not going to make many people's top 10 comic book movies of all time, but I still think it's worth a watch. Now, I looked around Netflix, Amazon Prime, and other streaming services, and I couldn't find this movie streaming anywhere. I also looked to see how much it would cost to rent this movie. I couldn't find that information either. It looks like this movie has gone completely off the grid, just like Frank Castle. Now, I rented it on the Netflix DVD service, but guys, since you're here on YouTube, if you just type in Punisher 1989 full movie, you might get a pleasant surprise. Now, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to give the movie The Punisher from 1989 a 6 out of 10. I thought this movie was just slightly above average. There are some negatives, like the story itself. It's pretty generic, and it's sometimes just downright weird, and you'll be shaking your head in disbelief. Plus, Frank Castle, he doesn't rock the skull shirt. I would have loved to see Dolph Lundgren rock that skull shirt, but unfortunately, there's none of that here. The positives are, I like the darker tone of the movie, plus some of the action scenes, especially for 1989, are pretty fun and pretty well done. Now, when was the last time you guys ever watched The Punisher? Or did you know this movie even exists? Leave me a comment below, and guys, if you like movie look back reviews like this, make sure you subscribe here to Toned In Entertainment for future videos.
Subscribe to the channel. Do it. Go now. Do it now.